Pilate asked Jesus about this, and Jesus tells him the truth will make you free. And his response is, well, what is the truth? What is the truth? Well, he could ask that question today, couldn't he? And we were so divided amongst ourselves that Republicans see one thing one way, Democrats see the same thing and look at it in a different way. Christians, I can read the same Bible verses and one pastor may interpret it one way and I might interpret it another way. What is the truth? But it does seem to me that the truth is that I really don't see myself the way others see me. I've got blind spots to myself where I don't really see the stuff I really don't want to see in me. And someone told me that, you know, if someone tells you something about yourself, you can dismiss it pretty quickly. But if two people see the same thing, you better start listening. And if three people tell you the same thing about yourself, then you better listen. Then there's the truth. And I've said this before. I use it as a sermon illustration quite often because I'm at the center of it. And this came home when my wife told me something about myself, and she often does. And okay, yeah, I heard it, yes. But then one day, my boss, who was the president of the seminary, pulled me aside and said, you know what? You expect a lot of grace from others, but you don't give a whole lot in return. Meaning I'm very hard on people, very judgmental. But I think I'm the most compassionate guy I know. I'm the most tolerant. But Cindy had told me the same thing earlier, and now I had to say, oh, there's something about me that I just didn't really want to see in myself. I didn't really want to see the truth about myself. You know, we always say that we are sinners, and we are caught in sin, and we can't free ourselves. The truth is not in us. But if we go to God and ask for His forgiveness, God will forgive us our sin. Well, that's nice in concept, but like probably you, I'm better at identifying your sin than I am in my own. That's where a community of faith can help us, if we can tell the truth to each other in love. And for me to hear it without getting defensive and saying, "Oh yeah, no, you're the one who's got the problem, not me." To really hear what people have to say, because I believe God speaks through you to me, and I speak on behalf of God to you. That's how it works. I don't have the whole truth. I don't even claim to know the whole truth. That's why we need each other. But I do know the truth that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. That one I'll hold true. And that we are saved through God's grace and mercy through what Jesus did for us. That's the truth that sets us free. It's okay to be human. It's okay to fall short because I know that God's grace will lift me up. And I know that if I've hurt people, God can bring healing to that, just as if I'm hurt by others. I can have the power to forgive. That's what sets us free. I don't have to carry around grudges anymore. And I don't have to beat myself up anymore. God's grace comes and flows through me. And so I can pray to God, God, open my heart so that I can be more compassionate. So that I don't judge so much, but I can listen to people with compassion and love instead of intolerance. That's how God can reform us. We are always in need of reforming. We get set in our ways. We know what's right and what's wrong. But sometimes God comes in and He does something. He brings us into a relationship or an experience that opens our minds and opens our hearts and to say, oh yeah, this is what God's doing with us. This is what God's doing with me. God is always reforming us. Always. So the question is, how is God reforming you? And how is God reforming the church? Because the church, I'm going to tell you something, the church isn't what it used to be 40 years ago. We all realize that one. And it ain't coming back to where it was in the 1960s and 70s and 50s. God is doing something new here. God's doing something new with His church. I don't always know. In fact, I rarely know what God is doing. But I do know God is doing. I don't know how God is reforming His church. But He is. And I know He is reforming St. John's Lutheran Church. God is always active. His Spirit is always with us to bring us to God's mission in this world. How is God doing that? How is God lifting us up from the status quo and challenging us with what is new? Who are the people we need to reach out to? How can we be open to when people reach out to us? How is God reforming St. John's Lutheran Church? Well, you're going to hear from one of our members, Nikki Gillette, of how God is reforming her family and the young people and their parents in this church through our ministries to our young people. How God has touched the lives of so many that our Sunday school has doubled in attendance and in registration this year. And how is God going to move that mission forward? We're starting a stewardship appeal this fall, starting today, in which we are going to be giving you information about where we are. Where do we sit today with our finances and with our ministries? And where is God calling us to be next year, in 5 years? What is God putting us in? What is God putting in our place? So today we're looking at, there are 4 cores that we identified as a stewardship group and that the council has agreed to. Youth and family, an important core. Our partnerships, our care in the community, and our hospitality. So our outreach and our inreach. These 4 core areas we're going to lift up in the next 4 weeks. And we're going to say, these are what we want to do. These things we want to do. And we want to have focus groups so that we get your input. You are important to what we do because we're all in this together. What do we want to do in this church? Not what should I do as your pastor. It's we. It's a we program, folks. And through that, and through those things, and through those ministries, how is God reforming us? And how is God reforming me? And so when Nikki will talk to you at the end of our church service about, again, how St. John's has made a difference in her and her family's life. Good stuff. Good stuff. Maynard, remember that commercial? Good stuff, Maynard. And today is a very special day, too, where Addie Lang is going to receive her first communion. That's a very special day. So when we have communion, you'll be the first to come up, Addie. All right? There's going to be a big flashlight, a big light that's going to follow you all over the church. All right. Well, let's get to the next song, shall we?